All right, let's finish this up. If we look at B, the polygon in B, I already drew a line here. I know that this bottom part is a square, and I know it's a square because these two sides are the same, which means these two sides must be the same. And I can figure out the length of that side by using this 45, 45, 90 triangle that I drew up here, because this is a 90-degree angle. Whoops, doesn't look like it, but that is a 90-degree angle right there. So if the hypotenuse is 6 root 2, that means both of these other sides are 6. So let's do the area first. The area of the square, and these are all 6. The area of the square is 36. Okay, the area of the square is 36 centimeters. Okay, and the area of the triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. And it looks like since that's 6 and that's 6, it's actually just half of the square. It's another half a square. So the area of the triangle is equal to 1/2 of 36, which is equal to, what is 1/2 of 36? 15, 6, 7, 18. 18 centimeters squared. So if we add those together, the area of the entire polygon is equal to 36 plus 18, 6 and 8 is 14, carrier 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 54 centimeters squared. Now let's do the perimeter. The perimeter, we're going to add 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, which is 24. So the perimeter is equal to 24 plus 6 root 2, and this time I'm not lying. You cannot find the square root of 2. So let's go ahead and put that into the calculator. 24 plus 6 second root 2 equals approximately 32.49. Approximately 32.49 centimeters. Was it 32 or 34? 32. Good. All right. Then we have this one over here, this last polygon. So I'm going to draw down the other side of this rectangle, which if this side is 3, then this side must also be 3. So I know the area in here is 24, and this says feet. That one is just feet squared. And if I use the Pythagorean theorem here, I can figure out, and if this is 8 down here, I can figure out the length right here. So I know that's 3 squared plus that side x, I'm just going to call it x that I don't know, plus x squared is equal to my hypotenuse squared, which is 5 squared. So I have 9 plus x squared equals 25. So subtract 9 from both sides, and I get x squared is equal to 16, and take the square root of both sides. Now this is very important. Normally it'd be plus or minus the square root of 16, but when we're dealing with area or triangles, we only use the plus because you're never going to have a negative distance. So we're just going to say x is equal to 4. So back up here, we have this side is 4. So the area of the rectangle is 24 feet squared. The area of the square is 1/2 the base times the height. So 1/2 of 4 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 plus 24, the area of this entire polygon is 30 feet squared. And the perimeter is 5 plus 4, 5 plus 4 plus 8 plus 3 plus 8. So the perimeter is, let's see, 8 plus 8 is 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 5 is 36. Did I add that right? Let's do it differently. This is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 5 is 28. So we have 28 feet is the perimeter. All right, you guys, so let's simplify these. There will be several of these types of questions on the test, and I want you to remember that the square root of something is the same. Let's say the square root of x is the same as x to the 1/2 power. So if we look at A, here we have the square root of 5 to the 6th power. What that really means then is we have 5 to the 1/2 power to the 6th power, and when we have the power to the power, we multiply the exponents. So this is the same as 5 to the 1/2 of 6 is 1/2 times 6 is 3rd power, and 5 times 5, which is 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125. Okay, write those steps down. Make sure you understand what each of those steps mean. Okay, B, geez, I'll skip some. B is 49 to the 5/2 power. So let's do this backwards. What that means is the square root of 49 to the 5th power. What is that really saying? That is really saying the square root of 49 times 49 times 49 times 49 times 49, right? Now, I can separate that out, right, to the square root of 49 times 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 the square root of 49, which is 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, or just 7 to the 5th power, right? Which we could have figured out a little bit easier. But I wanted to show you the whole entire process that we went through. So let's do this, but it's not actually 7 to the 5th power. It's going to be positive 7 to the 5th power and negative 7 to the 5th power, right? So let's get our calculator. So if we have just 7 to the 5th power, that's going to be 16,807. Okay, and if we make each of these negative, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if we have a negative and a negative, that becomes a positive. But then when we multiply it by a negative, it becomes a negative. But then we multiply it by a negative number, it becomes a positive. But then we multiply it by a negative number, and it becomes a negative. So our answer is going to stay the same if they're negative 7s, but it's going to be negative 16,807. Okay, because the square root of 49 can be either positive or negative 7. Okay, and then last but not least, we have the 4th root here of 81 cubed, which is the same as, why don't we practice putting this in the calculator, which is the same as 81 to the 3/4 power. Okay, that's to the 3/4 power. Maybe I should make that 4 a little bit smaller. And we can just put that in the calculator. There, get rid of that. But here, remember, we want to have 81 to the power of, and we want to make sure, especially in these old-timey calculators, that 3/4 is in parentheses. 27. Okay, so C equals 27. All right, what's the next question? Last question. All right, A says 64 to the 2/3 power, but it wants us to show our steps. So that is the same as the cubed root of 64 times 64. And because it says 64 squared, and I know that 64 has a cubed root, I think it's 4, right? Because 4 times 4 is 16, times a third 4 is 64, okay? So what this really means is the cubed root, I can make this the cubed root of 64 times the cubed root of 64, which is, oh, don't forget my 3, which just means 4 times 4, which means 16. Okay, so the answer to A simplified would be 16. All right, so 25 to the 5 halves would mean the square root of 25 to the 5th power, right? I'm on B now. So we're talking about the square root of 25 to the 5th power, which just means 5 to the 5th power, which is 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, which is, get my calculator out here, 5 to the 5th power, 3125, 3,125. Okay. But also, if you used the square root of 25 as negative 5, okay, again, because we have a negative x, or an odd exponent here, this is going to give us negative. So there's actually 2 answers here, 3, 1, 2, 5. I don't think the test asks you to find 2 different ones. And C says we have the 4th root of 81, right? All to the 7th power. Well, the 4th root of 81, I think, is 3. Let's check that out. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. So 3 times itself 4 times is 81. So the 4th root of 81 is just 3. So we have 3 now to the 7th power. And 3 to the 7th power is more than 81. 2,187. Okay. And I think we could have done that as negative also. Again, I want to stress that even though you and I know that you can have a positive and a negative answer in these situations, on the test, I'm sure that they only want the positive answer for this. So let me know if you have any questions tomorrow before we take the second part of the test, and I will see you then.